All right, so as always, we're going to hop into the news first before we jump into our final seasonal wrap up. So, first, the Elden Ring anime trailer just dropped, and I am excited.
I bet
It,
you are.
there's been so many weird animes that have come out, like that they're doing like the Harley Quinn anime that just dropped, or the I guess it'd be Suicide Squad, not necessarily Harley Quinn. They're doing like a Batman anime movie, like they're doing a Terminator. I mean, they're just
Terminator.
the anime is just like everybody's taking their piece of the pot. We talked about Rick and Morty on our last
True.
video. All right, well, the next one we got is Shangri-La Frontier Season 2 comes out on October 13th, and they also dropped a trailer. I mean, Shangri-La Frontier was probably one of the best animes of that season.
I think it's
One
one of
of
my
the
best
best.
video game animes ever.
It was an S tier. I'm pretty sure it was an S tier last season. Like it didn't oversell us a plot, and we still got a good video game tier plot.
How it
Like it
ended
didn't.
was amazing.
Yeah, it was an amazing show. For those of y'all who don't know what Shangri-La Frontier is, it's about a young man who only plays trash video games, and he ends up getting an S tier, a God tier video game, and he ends up playing it. And it's a virtual reality thing. It's kind of like Sword Art Online, where they put the nerve gear on, they go into the video game, and he plays as a he plays as a naked chicken. Just like our Elden Ring guys who love to
Naked
like
chicken.
fight. He'll like to fight. He's not like a chicken. He's a human body with like a chicken head mask because he doesn't want people to know what his face looks like because he does dumb shit. And it's about him. They're trying to fight these not imperial, like unique monsters. They're trying to like get these unique monsters. It's literally him just playing a video game, but it's such a good show because it's hilarious. The fighting is amazing. It's beautiful, beautifully choreographed, beautiful animation. I mean, it's good for something that's just a video game anime, which we have so many of. So season 2 is coming out October 13th. We probably will be talking about it in upcoming animes and the trailer drop. So go ahead and check that one out. Next,
What
I
you
mean,
got
you
for
got
us?
you got a soundboard, right? Like the. You
No.
got one of those?
No.
No. Okay. Well, Fire Force season 3 is coming out.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's
I'm
go.
excited for Fire Force. After rewatching season 2, because I got lost in the sauce in the middle of it. After rewatching, I'm like, yeah, I need another iteration of this.
Yeah. I mean, we would have been robbed if we wouldn't have got Shinra in his final form. Like we would have been robbed if we didn't get that. But there was some bad news we talked about Fire Force a while ago, where the animators dropped Fire Force. Remember that? And I guess somebody picked it back up. But we're getting season 3, April. So it's going to be in two cores. Actually, we're getting core 1 April of 2025, which I know, but a new animator picked it up, so they have to
April
restart.
2025.
Yeah, but they have to restart. You know what I'm saying? They a new animator pay from what I mean. I didn't read this, but like if an animator dropped it that was making it, that means a new animator would have to pick it up, and I guarantee you they have to restart. So they have to start over from for season 3.
That
So
makes sense.
yeah, so we're getting core 1 in April 2025, and then we're getting core 2 in January of 26. So it's
I mean,
content.
it's
Like we're
coming.
getting,
It's coming.
we're getting it. We're getting it. So in 2026, we'll see you guys. We'll be back, and we'll do a seasonal wrap up of Fire Force season 3. Um, I'm I'm over the moon. Y'all already know who've been with us for a while. Fire Force is my favorite new gen anime, even if it hasn't been out in a long time. So next, we have the My Hero Academia movie is coming out in October in the U.S., which again is one of those things we talked about. Should we be dropping things in Japan first and then the U.S. because people are going to pirate it regardless. Hell, we watched. We talked about this a couple times already, but when we were in that B&B, we watched one of those My Hero movies. We sailed the high seas for that one.
Oh,
So
you talking about
it
for
was
my wedding?
it was the first one.
Was it for my
Was it
wedding?
for? I think it
I
was for your
I'm
wedding.
pretty sure we
Yeah.
watched something for my wedding. So
Yeah, we watched it. We were downstairs all on the couches, and like I fell asleep, you fell asleep, but we watched the My Hero movie, the first one that came out. We watched that one, and we sold the high seas for that because it wasn't out in the U.S. yet. So
I mean, they're gonna make the money regardless, but I think they
mhm,
will make more money if they did do simultaneous releases, simulcast releases in America as well. Because again,
yeah,
we're just gonna find it in other ways. I remember One Piece. It took over a year for the movie that came out. I saw
hmm
it before a year, but It took over a year, and then I saw it again, and then it immediately released on
Look,
like a platform. I think like Crunchyroll or something. Like it released on Crunchyroll. So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
losing money if they keep
It
doing
is
this.
what it
Oh, we're
is.
going to do Japan now, and then 6 months later we'll do it in Italy, and 6 months later we'll do it in France. Like, bro, give us our stuff. Just give it to
Let's
us.
just give it to everybody. There's literally no point. Like I understand the whole like waiting to have to like do subtitles or put subtitles on it because that does take a little bit of time. I'm not knocking people who are in charge of or
People will
subtitle
do that
engineers.
for free.
Yeah, they're motherfuckers
Overnight.
who will translate a whole
Overnight.
movie overnight. So you got 6 members on a team, and Fred is late for work, and it takes you 6 months to translate one movie.
Need to get
All
new
right,
translators. They
yeah,
translate
like
whole light novels online.
Yeah, Fred Son needs to get fired,
Fresh
and
son.
then y'all need to get David Henderson Kun to fucking
Everything back.
fucking just says idiot, 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 idiot.
That reminds me of this one anime that came out where they basically were told to have fun with the English dub, and they did.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
I've
went
seen
off
clips of
the
that.
wall
I've
with
seen
it.
clips of what was it? It was the one where
He was like a ghost
he
or
was like
something.
he was like, "Oh, I'm stuffed." He was like, I think it's clipped on
Oh
Instagram and
yes, it's
TikTok a
definitely
lot.
clips all over of it.
She was like, "Oh," he was like, "Oh man, I can't eat another bite. I'm stuffed." And she was like, "Well, I'm not. Let's change it." And he was like, "Excuse?"
It was just wild ass comments like that
It
all
was just
over,
stupid shit.
and it's
Yeah.
because they apparently
Run
the
like run
person.
like a big black guy is chasing you.
Yeah, that one. He was on the track. The kid was running,
Yeah.
and he just. But the translator, like he was a known translator. He had done stuff
Yeah.
like Digimon and things,
Yeah.
but he was known for also going off script. So when they
Yeah.
received this project, they basically said, "Hey,
Do
people
what you
aren't
got to
going
do.
to take this super serious. It didn't do well in Japan. We
Yeah.
got this for hella cheap. So go ahead and
Do what you got to do,
get the
homie.
most money you can get out of it."
I need to
And
watch. I
he
haven't
did.
actually watched it. I need to watch it because there's some funny ass. Run like a big black guy is
And
chasing you.
that's enough internet for me today.
Like I was like, all right,
This show
okay,
needs to
all
be
right.
canceled.
Sir, your line was your line was dig deep.
Yo, there's some hot ass takes on that one.
Uh,
Yo.
all right. So the last thing we got is kind of a two-parter. So two parts for Bleach. So Bleach: Thousand Year Blood War Core 3 trailer is coming out and it's releasing in or trailer already came out, but it is releasing in October. So look forward to Core 3 for that
Nice.
money grab. But also they have a game that is
Mm-hmm.
set to release. So it's called Bleach: Rebirth of Souls, and it's coming out on all platforms. So it will Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. But I mean, I haven't been excited for an anime game since Ninja Storm. I know you played the One Piece one before. Not well,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say Ninja Storm. When, um, oh my gosh, the one where you can all the anime characters together and you can find them. Oh my gosh, how did I forget the name of this?
Not Stampede.
Force,
Jump Force.
Jump Force.
Mm.
That was like the last time I was excited for a game, and then they completely shit the bed on it. Literally went nowhere.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the trailer was epic, and then they just completely flopped. So, but I've never been too excited about these. I have high hopes for the video games I play,
Mm.
and when it's an anime video game, I'm kind of like,
I heard the Jujutsu Kaisen one is doing pretty well. Remember we talked
really?
about that one?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
heard that's doing pretty well, and I know the My Hero Rumble that came out.
yeah.
Like I played it a little bit. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it was pretty interesting. And I can definitely it was like a Fortnite specific to My Hero, so I can
The,
definitely see people getting into that as well.
the only one I've heard that is doing well so far for me personally was the Attack on Titan one. The Attack on Titan video game. I've heard that's doing decent. I
I saw
wanted to
clips of
try it
that.
on I wanted to try it on PC just to kind of get a little, but if it gets linear,
Linear.
yeah, if it gets linear, whatever, then I don't
Linear.
I don't know. I know somebody named Linear, so I'm like linear. Yeah,
Is
then
that the French pronunciation?
I'll probably just
Linear.
linear. If it gets linear, um,
Oh man, everybody wants to be like
uh,
Pokemon, Dragon Ball, and Naruto, but hey, they the titans of the anime
yeah.
video game world. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, I used to ball out on Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball video games. That
Hmm. Like
those were some of
Tenkaichi? Oh, that used to be my shit.
those were some of the best video games on the planet. And then Ninja Storm dropped, and shit was over. Shit was over. It was just like, yeah,
People,
anime video games are gonna be on
people used to
top.
run up to play some Ninja Storm.
All right, alrighty. So moving into our seasonal wrap up. Again, like we even said in our mid season, there's not a lot that we really peeped. This season was kind of, it was there, but it wasn't like there. You know, it was there, but it wasn't
We made a
there.
comment about it at the end of the mid season about how these
Yeah.
can definitely go down if
Mm-hmm.
we don't see it pan the way that we were hoping, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them didn't pan the way we were hoping. So some of them went down slightly. I wouldn't say Indy made a dramatic drop, but
Yeah.
some
Mm-hmm.
slight drops.
Starting off with one of them that I'm like a couple episodes behind, Remonster.
Okay.
Remonster for me, great show. I think it's a fantastic show. I think it's hilarious. Um, I don't know, maybe if it's because I haven't watched it in a bit because we were finishing out some of the other shows, but I don't know if I put it as an S, but to me it's an A. It just kept getting, it stayed the same. Like, and I'm 2 episodes away from finishing it, and unless something drastic happens in the last 2 episodes that you know about, to me it's an A because it's a really funny show. There's good fighting. I like the power scaling in it, everything like that. But there's nothing like, there's nothing there. Like it's just, it's a
It is
linear
what it
show.
is. Yeah.
It is what it's supposed to be, I guess. And there's no like serious plot to it. So for me, it's an A. It's an A because it's still a good show. It's just, like there's no, oh shit, like S
I can
factor. You know what I'm
understand that.
saying?
I definitely understand that. No, I really wanted to. I was really looking forward to the show. I want to say I
Yeah,
wasn't really wanting to
same.
love it, but I was really looking forward to the show. And honestly, it was good. It was a good show, and I'm happy I
Yeah.
got the shows. I was not disappointed or anything like that. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. It was linear. We know he's strong. We know he has
Yeah.
all these crazy tactics, and then when he seems to be pushed against the wall, he pulls out this power that they mentioned once before or in passing, and then he pulls out the win.
That was, yeah, sorry. That was, before I forget, that was the one thing that I forgot to say. That was my one drawback from this show. My one negative comment was like, we know he's super broken, but everybody he fights seems to push him up against the wall. Like,
I think
and then
it's
he
his
pulls
character
out.
where he likes to be challenged, and then he'll pull out a stronger thing. Like, all right, well, you managed to push this form, so how about this form, like a Goku type?
I don't know. I just, to me, that's not the way his personality is.
Yeah, his
Like
personality seems like an overwhelming force. I'm going to
her
try my best shit
personality
from
is
from
her
jump.
personality is like one punch. If I can punch you one time and you're down, that's what I'm gonna do. But then when he fights, he does the whole Goku. I like to fight you at my base form, then my next form, then my next form, then my next form. But that's not. It's contradicting personalities. Contradicting personalities. Like you fight that way, but that's not how you act. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, I can see
So
it.
that was like the one drawback for that. It was kind of pissing me off. But it's
it
still fun.
wasn't that strong for me, but no, I definitely could see that as well. Where it was a little counter because his personality definitely seemed like he's overwhelming force. He wants to show how strong he is. He's the
Yeah.
master of all things. I will say, really good. It's still a really good show. It does keep an A. It has the possibility of season 2 being an S because they have set things up for the next season.
Hmm.
Some couple things that the end of the season was bringing up where certain members of his
Yeah.
group had to get to a certain point for him to evolve again. So I can see going into next season us accomplishing
But
that, him getting to the next. I'm just more interested in how he's going to get stronger. What's the next form? Because it seems like now he's starting to look into being divine, goddom, blessings, and then
yeah.
also those. I know somewhere in the season he fought someone who had these blessings or curses. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
wants to eventually find all of them, and things like 5 of them,
Yeah.
and eat them
Hmm.
so that he can get their blessings. So I think I'm more interested because it's a power anime. It's a power
But
fantasy anime. I'm interested in to see how powerful can he get, who can he eat, and what new ability he's going to get. So that's what keeps it
maybe,
as A for
yeah, I
me.
mean, that's cool and all, but at the end of the day, maybe I'm just trying to find negativity about it. It's still an A, but like, is it just gonna be like, I get this form, everybody evolves. This person evolves. Then we evolve again. Then we evolve again. Then we evolve again. And then we evolve again.
And
And
then throw
again.
some
Like
political stuff in there, stuff like that. Yeah,
that's
somebody has a baby, stuff like that. Yeah. It's a power fantasy, and let's be real.
yeah.
If we look at solo leveling is a power fantasy too. Just seeing
It's just
Sun Jin Woo, see how stronger he's going to get. What's the next form? What's the new ability he's going to get? It's the same thing. It's just not as flashy as solo leveling, and that's probably why it's not able to get that S because the animation is good. It's decent animation. It's not bad. There's places where it does kind of lack, but it's not so noticeable. You're like, what the fuck? Like
yeah.
it's decent anime, and
Yeah.
I think because it's decent anime and because it's a power fantasy anime,
Yeah.
it's a
I mean,
good A tier anime.
yeah, yeah. That completely makes sense to me. Um, okay, so next we have conflict. I'm conflicted. All right, so this one is How to Love Your Elf, an Archdemon's Dilemma. Archdemon's Dilemma. Geez, How to Love Your Elf Bride. This was a really good show to me. Finished it.
Okay.
I'm not disappointed, but again, it was very linear.
Yeah, of course.
Linear. It was very. It didn't. The last episode was a slice of life episode. It was like I'm happy that I have my family, and when it ended, I was like,
Yeah, the hype was episode 11, and then episode
yeah,
12 was like, all right,
yeah. I was
everyone's
like,
good now.
yeah. I was like, my boy got his family. He guys the love. They finally kissed. You know what I'm saying, for the first time. You know what I'm saying. I'm
Oh, they
like,
did more than kiss. What you mean?
I mean, yeah.
That little scene at the hotel spot.
No, that was level 2 super cheap.
Oops. Okay, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of them out there. We got some rom coms
Nah,
this
I know,
season. I
I
like it.
know,
I
I
like
know, I know, I know, I
it.
know.
But no,
But
no, no, no. Yeah.
the ending of this one, they kissed, and because they were up in the air, like he floated her up, and then they kissed or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was good. It was a very good show, very good. It was an S tier for me when we talked about it, but it's a very very high A because they didn't do anything. Like it has it again, kind of like Remonster. If they set up a really big, because they have been. They've set up demons in the other realm. They set up that there are other demons in the realm that are trying to get into our realm. They set up that the archdemons don't like him. They've set up that there is a big bad that's trying to pull in these demons, control them. Like they have the ability to make this plot really work for our characters, but they just didn't do it in season 1. So season 2 definitely has the ability to be a S tier if
Yeah.
they get into the whole like other demons in other realms. You know what I'm saying? If they actually get into that. And I mean, they did the whole fight with the big knight, right? The holy knight. Ended up finding out that was a very big twist, and
Yeah.
I like that twist. I loved that twist. That twist was great. And I guess maybe that was just the plot of but the problem with me in that plot was that was a plot that was set up already halfway in the show. Like that plot didn't start episode 1, this big night guy is my enemy. Episode 12, we're now friends and he's a butler in my mansion, which is very cliche for these types of animes, and I'm cool with it. I love the whole like he's my enemy and now he works for me kind of deal. Like I'm cool with it. But that plot wasn't started until a few episodes before the ending.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really go. We didn't meet him that much. We saw him a couple times, and then come to find out he's actually a super nice guy. People are just super scared of him, so they try to attack him.
I mean, I
You know
think
what
the
I'm saying?
plot was the little girl, because she came in as the big knight, and then she's just a little girl, and then she's
She got
trying to get
disendowed and shit.
stronger, and she has these problems,
Yeah,
like not
but
what
it
kind of
didn't.
problems is it? Like friend problems, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's hard for her to talk with people and form relationship bonds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, the plot to me was more so of the holy churches, but that to me that seems so much like a background plot, the holy church and their corruption. Because we already know in every anime there's a holy church,
yeah,
they're corrupt.
just the
Like
overarching
that's
theme. Yeah.
yeah, but like that was like a background plot. And then for our night girl, she already turned the corner and she was on our boy's side. Cool. The archdemon side. And then episode 5 is when the big bad guy comes in and we're like, okay, cool, we're getting somewhere. But then it immediately turns, he kills the bishop, and then he turns good. And then it's just like, okay, cool. Good fight scene. Great.
I mean, her little plot line doesn't end until the final episode, though.
Yeah,
Until
but
she
that
finally makes friends with both the night guy and the night girl, and says, "I forgive y'all. I have no hatred towards y'all, and everyone says we need to work together for the upcoming big
But
bad.
even with her, she didn't really even get a plot until almost halfway in. She didn't join the family until 5 episodes in, really.
Was it that many? I thought it was like maybe three.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't join the family until like 5 episodes in. Then even a couple episodes after that, we still don't know her backstory. And then we finally get her backstory, and then it just so happens that it ties into the Holy Church's backstory with the other girl. You know what I'm
What if
saying?
it's
But
just
that other girl,
multiple arcs? Like the first arc was getting the girl, the slave, and
mm,
then them finally becoming comfortable with each other. The
it
next arc was that
yeah.
little girl.
For me, it just wasn't a very convincing or
It wasn't
convincing plot.
it wasn't a well put together
Yeah,
season. Like I'm sure
yeah.
the long
It's kind of
story is pretty
all over
good,
the place.
but the season, just one
Yeah,
season as a full product,
yeah,
it didn't feel as a full season because
yeah,
a lot of things weren't resolved in that season.
yeah. And then
Well, now I'm
eventually,
looking deeper at it. Ew.
eventually, it stopped being funny though. I'm gonna be
Mm.
honest. Like it was really funny in the beginning, and then it just kind of stopped. Like it kind of was like, oh, okay, get it. But it was a good show. Again, I mean, I know I keep for some reason I'm being negative Nancy today, but like it was a good show. It's definitely an A tier to me. I think I put it as an S last time, but it's a low. It's like a low.
I mean, you came in saying it was a high A. Now we're getting at a low A.
Yeah, because
I'm
now
agreeing it's at a low A.
I'm thinking about it more, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it was kind of all over the place. Like the plot was not organized well. It wasn't clear what the plot was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are we fighting the Holy Knights, or are we trying to make a family? You're the archdemon now, but you're not really doing anything with your archdemoniness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to be an archdemon so bad, but you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
But then he said like, "Oh, I only wanted to be an archdemon so I can access this dude's library." I'm like, okay, boring. Like, you know
And
what
then
I'm
I was
saying? Like,
done. That that was done completely.
yeah.
Once he had access
It
to
was
it.
literally like 5 minutes of an episode where he got the books and then we never saw anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So low A.
Low A.
Low A.
I'm willing
Low
to give
A.
it low A because it started off
Low
really
A.
strong, and maybe season two is
Yeah.
going to pick it up.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe season 2 will pick it up. Okay. So the next one, I don't remember where I put it last time. And again, I apologize, but I have to give this a low S for me. I don't know why.
A
It's something
low
about it.
S.
So this is chilling in another world with my level 2 super cheat powers. This show is so fucking funny. Oh my god, this is probably one of the funniest animes I've ever watched that has powers, that has fighting, that has cool. It's a very much like a reincarnated as a slime vibe to it because he's a super broken character who just all these people are just coming to him. Like he has the demon lord on his side now, he has a demon wife, he has another demon with him, he has a whole group of girls who were knights that now abandon the knights to come to him. Like he has all these people just amassing around him, and he's super broken on top of that. And every episode, even if it's like the last 2 episodes, I was terrified when I saw the title of him. It said, it was like Spa Day Part One. I was like, oh fuck, we're getting a
Oh yeah.
filler. I was like, we're getting fillers for the last 2 episodes because they do that before they jump into a big plot sometimes. And I'm like, fuck. But then it really wasn't. I mean, it really had nothing to do with it. It was very much so a fighting series, like a part one and part two. And I thought that was amazing for a wrap up ending of that. It's not a super high S because it's it's I can't really think of anything negative to say about it, but there isn't something that's like there isn't something looming, right? He's still stuck. There's nothing like the big like when we got the idea that his brother was going to be the new Demon King instead of him, instead of Lord Goals, right? Um, that's at that point I thought, oh shit, this is gonna get bad. They're gonna have to do this whole all-out battle. But then his older brother started whooping his ass like he's a child, and I'm like, oh, so he's not that dangerous. Like he's not dangerous at all. Got it. You know what I'm saying? Like if the demon lord could probably now, what I did want to see was Lord Goal and our boy fight. I keep forgetting what his name is. Reese. I think no, Reese is her. Reese is the chick. Sir Fleo. I wanted to see Fleo and the Demon Lord fight, like the former one. We may get that a little sparring match or something like that, but there wasn't a very identified plot. It was just him living his life and then just getting into fights.
Yeah.
And but what made that for me was how funny. And from episode 1 to 12, it was so fucking funny, and I love comedy. Can literally save an anime for me if it's a trash anime, and this wasn't even a trash anime.
Mm.
It was so hilarious to me. Me and my wife were dying the whole time we were watching this. And then at the end, our boy, he fine, got a little,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
and I've spoke about this before. I love or I hate, first let me say, I hate when animes have the two characters that knowingly love each other, but they don't kiss, they don't get married, they're just always like, oh, red face, oh, red face, oh, red face. Like I hate that. Like get to it. Like knock the boots, please, right? But this show, they were like that a little bit in the beginning because they were still new. They were still
Mm-hmm.
in new relationships, still kind of shy, and it's Japanese. They don't really do a lot of those. We saw a scene where they were sleeping in separate beds and they were already really married this time. That's
Mm-hmm.
just the culture, right? But they finally said, "Hey, I can't. When you died, I couldn't live my life without you. Let's actually get married for real and not pretend like we're married." And they actually act like the married couple. They finally kissed, or they kissed a few times, and then the last episode they knocked the boots as a
Mm-hmm.
married couple. And I really appreciated that. That's what they gave us. The last episode, we're like, fucking finally. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't this like hey everybody, and just like fuck, and then the show ends. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like I mean, they almost did it one time before they were even married, and then the Jin popped in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You just showed up in the room, was watching them. No, I remember
Yeah,
that part.
oh, and the part about the psyche when she went into the witch and her psyche.
Oh
You
yeah,
remember that?
yeah, yeah. Definitely forgot about that. Yeah,
I was
she's
like,
doing some things to
hey,
that girl. Like, I
she
don't
said
know how we.
maybe I should get the other's consent to make it easier. I'm like, excuse me. She said, "Oh my."
What
When she
about my
said, my wife,
consent?
my wife looked at me when she was like, we're both women. How is this gonna work? She said, I'm a gen. The gender, like the thing, a concept such as gender, I surpassed the concept such as gender. She started
Mm,
pulling her skirt up. I say, hey, yo, she probably got a hammer under that thing.
no, no.
Golly.
I agree with you. Mostly I agree with you. It's a really good show. It definitely is a really good show. I think what keeps it from being an
Yeah.
S though, I will put this as a
Mm,
high A, is because the unseriousness of it. One, the
mm-hmm.
unseriousness of it, like there is no clear cut. Because even if with the brother taking over the demon
Yeah.
lord position, if he was actually an imposing force in which they may
That would have
have to
been a
deal
little
with
bit
him in the
better.
future, that would have brought it up. The fact that he just gets sunned by his brother whenever he wants, and then he's so broken that he basically the building was about to be destroyed. He stopped it from being destroyed and then completely reversed everything. It takes away from the serious level of the show. It's just meant to be fun, and that's perfectly okay. But it's hard for me to say a show that's meant to be fun. It is good, but it's not like great animation,
I just
complicated themes, a deeper theme. It's
there's
simple, good, lighthearted fun, and that's a great thing for an A.
there's two well three things. There's three things that make something an A for me. There's three things, right? Fighting, if the fighting is like Fate level, Demon Slayer level, like the choreographic is just like the fighting is just amazing. I'd
A
say
or
two
S for you?
plot
I'm sorry.
S. This is what makes it an
S
S.
for you.
Like shows. This is what makes shows an S for me. Two is plot. But the problem is I've seen a lot of shows that have good plot, but they're just dry. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, but that's a part of it.
Yeah.
The third and final thing is comedy. If I can watch this and I'm constantly laughing, for me that just does it for me.
What type of
Like it
laughing are
really
we
does.
talking about? Because there were a lot of times where I'm like, and there were times I was like, I was
I was.
never ball busting.
I
This
mean,
is hilarious.
I mean, we all find different things funny. We're two
Hmm.
different people. It is what it is. But for me, especially watching it and experiencing it with my wife, us giving us each other look, like it was an experience.
Hmm.
You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So we were dying at points.
An
Like we were
S
just
rank
dying.
experience though.
It's for some. I don't. That's just my personal beliefs.
S
Like,
is an exclusive
yeah, look,
category.
IMO.
Hmm.
It's comedy can bring a show up tiers for me. It just does. That's just me. It just does. I don't know. I mean, I do know why because it's comedy. It's funny to
Yeah.
me, and I find there's very few things I take Like I'm not like a silly person. My wife will say I am to certain people. I can be to certain
Yeah,
people,
you're
right?
pretty
Like
mean.
best friends, things like that. But like I don't find a lot of things funny. And so when I'm watching an anime and it just blows it out of the water for me and I can sit there just not think about anything because it's just so funny, I'm just laughing and enjoying the thing. It brings it to an S for me. I can give you an A if nothing else goes above it
Hmm.
because it like it drew something out of me, and maybe because I also shared the experience with my wife, so it
Hmm.
just meant a lot more. But even so, it was like it was a good time. It was a good time. I would
Hmm.
do it again, type shit. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like if somebody said this was the funniest anime ever, and I've never watched it before, I would immediately turn it on because that shit does it for me. But there have been other shows that have been funny but just stupid. This was like just funny, a
Hmm.
good time, good fun.
Wasn't
But I can give you,
cringe. Wasn't cringe. No,
yeah, it
I'm willing
wasn't
to give
cringe.
you the S because the way I'm looking at it is if it's A all across the board, but then one S, that puts it into the S category. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
willing to
comedy
give
is
you
that
bottom of the barrel S.
bottom S. We go if there's other S's, we can
Anything
definitely
S
put
is
it above it.
definitely going above it, but I'm
Yeah,
willing to give you
absolutely,
that one.
absolutely.
It
But
just it
this,
scrapes it.
I'm not. And the thing is, what's even crazier is we've talked about it before. I'm not a rom com guy. I don't like
That's
rom
the most
coms.
surprising thing about it.
And that's exactly why. And I even talked about it when we did the mid season review. I said there are shows on here that surprised me, like surprised me because and the only reason, and it's funny because I would have never watched these shows, right? Maybe Super Cheat only because it talks about level 2 Super Cheat skill and we do watch those shows, but anything like looks like a rom com, I only watch these because like Elf Bride, I would never watch that, right?
Yeah.
Never. But the only reason is because I watched it with my wife. I said, pick the shows out of this is the list. Pick the shows that look good to you that you want to watch. And she picked Cheat Skill. I said, I'll watch that. Me too. She picked Archdemon's Dilemma, right? I was like, oh fuck. All right, like whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if we're gonna have an
Archdemon.
experience, yeah, if we're gonna have an experience together, then you have to at least I have to put something on that I know you might like. And hey, I'll watch an anime that I don't usually watch, and I can give more discussion on it when we do our videos, right? So, but it, the fact that it surprised me so much and it was so funny is why I have to put it in the S category because I'm not the rom com guy. I don't do that. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
it's
So
getting S off the strength of his intro. The intro music. Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and give it S off the strength of the intro. Love it.
yeah, we're sitting there in the living room just like
Are you both in there doing the dance?
yeah, I was in there shaking my tail
Oh,
and doing it.
you were the wife. She was the husband. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
Got it.
she got the
Track it.
video. Just asked her for it. Um, fucking post it on Facebook. All right, so the next one is one I didn't finish, but I'm not. I'm kind of conflicted. I am gonna finish it because of what we talked about it before. But it's
Yeah.
I was reincarnated as the seventh prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. We've talked about the cringiness of what this young man is wearing and everything like that. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
But the thing that I did say that I did like about this show was the fighting, like the power, the how beautiful the fighting is, the power scaling, how broken the motherfucker created like fucking like you can combine spells. He combined like a million of them and almost blew up the planet. And I said he's confirmed like planetary. Like he could destroy a world with that shit, in my opinion. So something I do want to get back to watching, but I wanted to finish out these other ones that we really like together, so I could talk on those. But if I were to for up to now for what I would have given it, I don't. I did I give it a B last time?
I think
I
you
might have
gave
given
it
it.
A last time.
I think I gave it an A. If that's what I gave it, then I'm gonna keep it an A because it was good show. Getting over that other weird nonsense, you know what I'm saying? It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far. So
Got you. No, I definitely finished this one. So this one's an S,
is it?
and it's no
Wow.
question. This is probably one of the best new animes of this season.
I'll
The
give you that
fight,
again.
like if
I'll
you
take your
haven't
word
finished
for it.
it, is probably why you're still sitting at A. You finish the season, you're gonna know why it's an S. That the
I'm gonna
final
go.
fight, the
I'm gonna go watch it tonight.
the emotions of the final fight, the
Yeah.
character, the characters. What's the word I'm looking for? Like everyone's personalities and what was
Hmm.
going on at the time.
Yeah.
The assassin guild or the assassin team, them
Okay.
basically crying for forgiveness and then receiving forgiveness. Like it's a lot happens in the
Really?
final I would say the final like 3 episodes, and it's a whole cinematic event, and
Okay.
it ends so well. I
Okay.
my only problem with it is what's next. That was amazing. What's next?
Really.
Where do we go from here? It was really good. I mean, again, of course, he's Daisy Duke Boy. He's forever going to be Daisy Duke Boy. Eventually,
Yeah.
he's going to have a time skip. He's probably going to have some shorter Daisy Dukes. But right now, he's Daisy Duke Boy, and Daisy Duke Boy goes the fuck off. He does what he needs to
Okay.
do.
Okay. Okay.
He's a leader.
I
He's
give
a
you
leader
that.
to the people he needs to be a leader to. He's
Yeah.
a sense of hope, the light of hope, and he's
Really.
this
He seemed like a kind of
unknown.
narcissist.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a narcissist. Right? Yeah,
He said
he's
light
fucked
of
up in the
hope.
head. He experiments on anything and everything. He experiments in the middle of
Yeah.
his battles. He likes to impress himself. He wants you to impress him so that he can then impress himself greater than what you did. And his
Okay.
personality is honestly what makes the show a mess. Throwing on the animation, throwing on the plot makes it even
Okay.
better. But his personality is just amazing.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, the next one we have is an unfortunate one for my wife specifically. We're a couple episodes behind on this one, but it's the New Gate. This was what I said before was Sword Art Online from the B-rated Sword Art Online. It was literally copy paste to me of Sword Art Online. From what I've seen so far, it's a B. It's good. It's pretty good. It's not essentially. I mean, it's really we talked about it before, but it's about a young man who beats a video game. Surprise. And instead of going back to his real beats a video game, by the way, that if you died in real life, and he beats this video game, whereas you see that with the black cloak on, he thinks he's going to go back to his real world like everybody else does when they get to log out after after they beat it, but instead he gets transported 5,000, 500, 5,000. I think it's 5,000. I don't know. 5,000 or 500, one of those. I'm sorry. Into the future of that video game world. So like NPCs came to life. They know who he is. Well, some of them know who he is, not all of them. But when he gets transported to that world, he ends up like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck's going on? Oh wait, this is the video game world, but everything looks different. This is weird. So on and so forth. And then his Asuna has been waiting for him. His NPC Asuna has been waiting for him that entire time. She ends up finding him after they both try to destroy this fucking golem that gets created, and they just are starting living their life. And he's living with another elf girl who was in the shop who was cursed or whatever. And he's again another broken Kirito character who's surviving again in this new world. And the fighting is decent. Fighting is decent. It's very
Yeah.
linear, but it's kind of a B. It's like to me after watching something as good as Sword Art Online, you try to copy paste that shit. I'm just not gonna give you credit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you really did was copy paste. And people can run a good argument about other video game animes being like that too. Like oh you'll die in real life, but this is fucking you cheated on your tests. Like you got the same answers as Billy over there. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why it's a B to me. It's
I
not
got you.
crazy. We're gonna finish it because she likes it, of course. She's not like in the depths of like why this would be a B. She'd probably call it an S because it's sort of online related and there's no sort of online material coming out. So of course she would like something that's sort of online related. She's
Yeah.
very simple, and I love that about her. So
For me, I disagree with you, but I agree with you. It's hard for me to know whether or not this is a B or a really low A. I
yeah,
disagree on. Yes, it has many aspects that reminds me of Sword Art Online, but where it does differ, our main character obviously he goes in 500 years into the future, and
yeah,
this future is everyone who's a player are the real
yeah,
people who were playing the game. They're gone, and now it's
yeah.
just the NPCs. What makes
NPCs,
this
yeah,
interesting is when he was playing the game, they had no sentience.
yeah,
They just were
yeah,
NPCs. But after the game ended, they found self. They lived their lives. First, they looked for so the players were considered gods of their
yeah,
world. So first, they all looked for the gods. Why did they all disappear on this fateful day? And
yeah,
then eventually, they began to just live their life. And he managed to come in 500 years later, and he's starting to meet those same people again. He has connections with these NPCs. And again, I'm not boasting up as
Well,
this is a great point. I'm
I'm
just
just
saying
saying,
this is the
Alicization
difference from it.
Underworld,
Oh no, no,
same same thing. Alicization Underworld,
definitely. But
same thing.
then we get to the point where towards the end of the season, and again, because you're right, it does have a lot of similarities to Sword Art Online. Just those are the slight differences. We get to the
Yeah,
end of the season where we start to discovered maybe one we find out that the girl was kind of hiding things from him, lying to him a little bit because there
yeah,
are PK or player
yeah.
killers.
Player killers. Yeah,
There are player killers who exist in this world, and other players exist, not just him.
yeah,
So that plot point was introduced at the end. There were no, not like there were
mhm,
amazing fights in it, but there were no like big
yeah.
culminating
Showdowns.
event to
Yeah,
by the end of the season. It was just
yeah,
we just got this new discovery end of the
yeah.
season. So it's like, can it get better? I don't know. If I was grading it off of potential, I would give it an A, but
It's not
honestly, it was a
what
B.
we got.
It
Yeah,
was
what
a
we
really
got is what
high
we
B
got.
because
Yeah,
it didn't excite me at all. It
no,
wasn't that exciting. It was just
no.
okay. This is interesting.
And
Where are we going to go with this?
and
And
it's
then
and it's
Sword Art Online.
because and it's because I know Sword Art Online so well that every time I watched it, I just thought of what in Sword Art Online they're referring to, like what they're stealing from. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that
What they
took it away.
stealing from?
Like if you haven't watched Sword Art Online or you just know you don't know much about it, you watched it in passing, you would probably think this was an A, like a low A type of anime. But if you like me and the wife, that's her favorite anime. Like you know that. Like she loves Sword Art Online, and I watched it so much. I started from season one again for her, and she fell in love with Sword Art Online. She always asked me constantly, at least once a month, like, is there not a new show coming out for Sword Art Online? I'm like, watch our fucking YouTube channel. How about that? But no, but because I've watched it so much, I'm just maybe I'm nitpicking, but like I see, oh, they did that in Sword Art Online. Oh, they did that. It's kind of like military people watch military movies. You're like, that's
Yeah,
stupid. They
that's
would
why I
never do that.
stopped.
You know
I
what I'm
stopped
saying?
watching military movies completely.
So yeah, so it's like it's kind of like that for me. So that's why it's a B. I can give the high B, 100%. But it's not an A. And maybe next season it could turn into A if they start doing this whole new thing. But
Maybe,
like,
but even the plot point was like, oh,
it'll never be
maybe
an A.
there's going to be a badass PK, and that can definitely bring it up to an A. But if
And
it's just like there's
if this motherfucker
PKs,
goes into the real world and finds out that there's people in the real world trying to kill him, I'm done. I'm not watching the show
they
ever
shoot
again.
him and he goes into a coma and he's stuck
Yeah,
into the game world.
and then he's stuck in a game. I'm not doing this ever again.
We know the
Like,
vibes. It's all good.
okay, so the next one we got, I didn't watch because there's a million different titles with Aristocrat in it, but this one is as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skills to rise in the world. I know you watched it, so fucking take it away.
I know. Yeah, definitely watch this one because it was a part of that line of shows where it wasn't about fighting. It was
Hmm.
about someone being reincarnated into another world, and
Yeah.
they had to use this kind of a cheat skill. It wasn't a combat skill or anything. It was more intellectual, something slight to
Yeah.
better their nation, to better their civilization,
Hmm.
better their village. I like those type of shows because it doesn't just hinge on how good do the fight scenes look,
Yeah.
how interesting are the bad guys. It hinges on how interesting are the character themselves, their
Hmm.
development, the development of the characters around him, how he
Hmm.
uses this slight quirk to
Hmm.
make the show better. And when they are
Okay.
able to do it well, the show can be really good. I think it'd be really good. This one, I kind of backed on it because where it was when we did the like the mid season, it was in
Yeah.
this awkward point where his father died, and I felt in my opinion, I still slightly feel this way. In my opinion, it's his fault for being weak, physically weak, and not being able to go to war when his father was so sick and dying. So his
Right.
father had to go in his stead.
He didn't pull a Mulan. That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so it was like, and he ended up dying afterwards. I'm like, I mean, it's kind of your fault. But then
Yeah.
after as the episodes went on, the show was teaching him and the
Yeah.
viewer it's not your fault. This is how things are. This is
I got you.
the bigger picture. And then we start moving into the bigger picture. Now his father's dead. He's the king, or the
I got you.
he's the leader of this land, and he has to take his role and now take part of this greater war of nations and have to be a general for his small nation in the greater war of the nations. And he gets recognition for doing things,
Yeah.
simple things, but most people wouldn't be able to figure it out. But because he has this slight little quirk, he's able to figure things out strategically and solve problems
Okay.
in a very strategic political way, and he gets recognition from that. So again, this show's not about fighting. Like there is war, there's
Cool.
magic, there's like there's a war going on. So every once in a while, we get to see the war happening. We get to see the fact that he hired a magician to fight. We
So
hired the black guy who's really good
yeah,
at swordsmanship. Like we see some of that, but it's really focusing on the political
yeah.
aspect and development of our main character.
So where would you rank this then? Because it seems like you're kind of on the fence
I
right
am.
now.
I am on the fence.
It
Because
seems like
we always want to look at the shows for their category and not try to compare them, because if you compare this to a
yeah,
fighting anime, it's gonna drop,
yeah, yeah.
obviously.
Well,
But
compare it
for
in its genre for an isekai, for an aristocrat type thing, for a political. Because the fact when you said political, I was like, yeah, I'm out.
I
Like
saw
I'm
it in your
not.
eyes, he
I
clocked
was
out.
like,
I said, "Oh, okay,
I
good. That's
fucking
not my
I
thing."
dropped my pack.
And there's a lot of political aspects of this. There's a lot of parts where you need to listen to what's going on.
Yeah,
There's a lot of talking points. I will say this is a high A. I think it can
above
move.
both of these.
What's that? ReZero? Not ReZero.
Remonster,
Remonster.
remonster.
Yeah, I think it's above Remonster. I think it
Okay,
has the potential to move into S territory. We're
okay,
now moving into now the greater picture. So now he's working
right,
with the actual king of the nation, and the king's giving him
okay.
the task of also using his appraisal skills to find
Hmm.
talent for the whole nation. So I think
Okay,
it's going to get even grander, even bigger, and I think that can bring into that the S territory. But right now, it's a high A.
okay,
It's a really good show.
okay. Awesome. So the next one we got is one I am on the fence about. Kaiju number 8.
Okay.
Um,
Did you finish it first?
I'm one episode, but I know what happens because I've read ahead in
Okay.
Kaiju. And I'm gonna talk about why it's on the fence for me because I know what happens next. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So I read ahead, but in the anime, I'm one episode behind. Um, this is either a low S or high A above all this other shit. I've never watched Aristocrat, but it's a low S or high A for me. One, because it has one of those things that I talked about that is S tier for me, fighting, right? You know I'm a big kaiju fan. I'm a big Godzilla fan. I'm a big anything that has to do with
Fighting,
kaiju. That's that's
kaijus,
that's my jaunt, right? It is also funny. It's not drop dead funny.
comedy.
It's not drop dead funny. All right, but it's really funny. It's this is my type of anime. Monsters fighting, the whole kaiju defense force with their guns and like just when they got into the big battle at the end.
Why
This
is
is an
this not an
S.
S?
This is
Why are
S.
you
This
on
is
the fence
the
then?
only reason why I would say it's a very high A is because again, I'm being negative Nancy today. It was it was kind of to me the anime was a little drawn out. The only reason why it's an S, or not only reason, but one of the big reasons why it's an S is because I'm so excited for what's about to happen. Like so excited because we're getting introduced to the numbered kaijus and people don't know. Like people are so surprised. I got people at church that were like, "Hey, I caught up." Or this like kaiju number 9, really? And I'm like, there's fucking 10 of them. Like, get ready. Like there's kaiju 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like some of them are already deceased at this point in the show, but they talk about them. They explain
I
what
thought
they
that was
were.
pretty cool.
The dai kaiju, like things like that. Like there's 10 kaijus, like 10 dai kaiju that have ever existed, and they talk about every one of them, and we get to see like 5 of them minus kaiju number 8. So like that's a whole plot line in itself, and like him getting infected by the bug to become a dai kaiju, like it's a whole thing, and then him finally being able to get used by the defense force. Like I'm so excited for what happens in his future that it's a 100% S for me. It was just the A. It just kind of like it felt like for some reason like in the manga because I like skimmed the manga. You'll be happy for me. I did read Kaiju number 8, but like for the manga, it felt better paced for some reason, and in the show, it just kind of felt like, all right, come on, come on, come on, get there. You know what I'm saying? But that was the only reason. But so I guess that's a bad reason. So it's a fucking S. But like, you know,
Yeah, it's slightly bad reason because I've noticed when you're reading a manga, it's obviously the events are more condensed. While the anime,
maybe I just
they add
spoiled
more
myself.
padding to
Yeah,
the events. Like I had to get over that with One Piece. A lot of One
yeah.
Piece manga readers like, oh, the manga's much better, obviously, because it's more condensed, it's less
It's
padding.
condensed. Yeah, maybe because I'm not a big manga reader. I'm a collector, but I'm not a big manga reader. So for to me, it was very condensed, and I got the story. And this, I was just like, all right, I know what's coming. I know it's let's get it, let's get it. And I'm like, oh, the next episode isn't like that. You're doing half of the last episode plus the new shit. Oh, okay. You know, like I was
I
kind of
feel
like,
like
oh shit.
I feel like I could just skip past those parts like immediately. As soon as I see like it's
Yeah,
showing something from last episode, I just
yeah.
like just skip forward until we get to the new content. So
Yeah, but that
maybe.
was but it was like 10 minutes in after the like recaps and what happened last night. I was like,
Oh wow. Okay.
Some of them, like the episode where they showed up to the Kaiju Defense Force, and then old girl threw his truck. It was like 10 minutes into
Oh
the
yeah, they
episode.
usually have things like that. I think this is going to be a
Yeah.
long running series,
Oh, one
which is
hundred
going to lead
percent.
into my next point. I think this is going to be a long running series, and it's going to have episodes like that where they kind of recap
Yeah.
everything that's happened so far to get us to this point.
Yeah.
Which brings me into the point. This actually, it's funny because how you felt about Newgate and it reminded you of not Attack on Titan, of Sword Art Online.
I get where you're going with
This
this.
reminds me so much of Attack on Titan,
Yeah,
but it
I get
doesn't
where you're
bring it
going.
down in my opinion. It actually brings it up because
Well, they
following the
add a comedy
storyline
value
events,
to it.
Aaron, he gets the power.
Yeah.
His only no one knows. Hold on, did Mikasa and Armin know? When did they find out?
They found out the second time he used it.
Okay, so
So
they kind of knew it
he
before.
used it the first time. Nobody knew who the fuck he was, but he was helping, and they were like, "Why is this Titan
Yeah.
helping?" Then the second time he used it, this is when he was doing his half Susanoo forms. He wasn't doing like full battle, fighting Titan. But like the second time he used it was to save the little girl that was about to get shot by the soldiers, and he did like his half Susanoo rib and his arm like this down. They were all on
Oh,
top of the stairs about to
oh yeah,
shoot
yeah,
him,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he did this Susanoo rib and like arm to block it, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?" Like they were all like super shocked, and like Mikasa and Armin came down, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on with Aaron? Like that's Aaron in there, you know?"
So
So
it's essentially the same concept. Like
yeah, because
it
his
felt
boy knew
like
it immediately.
the same sequence of events. He turned into the attack on the Titan. Um, then his friends found out.
Yeah,
Then the government finds out. Then he gets in prison. Then they have the court martial where they decide on what they're going to do with him, whether they're going to kill him or what
yeah.
happens. Then they decide, okay, we're going to use. It was the same sequence of events, and it didn't ruin it for me. It's just like, okay, how are you going to do it, and how are you going to do it better?
I think it made it better only because they added a different level. They added a different element to it. So
Like
for
everyone believed in him,
for
everyone wanted
Newgate,
him to come back.
well that too, but for Newgate, it was serious like attack or serious like sort of online. Had some funniness to it, but nothing crazy. All sort of online it also had some funniness to it, nothing crazy. Like it was copy paste for this. Attack on Titan was not funny.
Oh yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
true.
it was serious trauma.
I mean, when he was
Kaiju number
crying like
eight,
a little bitch at the end, I laughed.
Kaiju number 8, hilarious, hilarious. Kaiju number 8 was hilarious.
Maybe that
So
stark
nothing,
difference is the only reason why I can accept it. Then, I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't bother me at all. But maybe because it's a stark difference, it doesn't bother
It's
me
funny
less.
and goofy, but still bloody and violent and gory, but it's goofy at the
And
same
yet they
time.
were still able to visit the same theme, and
Yeah,
it wasn't the
and it
same
didn't.
thing. It wasn't
Yeah,
the
it
same
didn't
thing.
walk
It
on
was different.
anybody's toes or anything.
So
So
I think that's why. And also, you said that it seemed like it drug for you. Maybe because I did skip to when new content was shown, but sometimes I felt like it was too fast for me. Especially
oh,
like the last few episodes, it kind of like,
yeah,
all right, you're caught. All right, court martial. All right, you're good then. Other than that final fight was pretty awesome. But after the final fight, it was like, all right, everything's settled then. It was like,
is that last episode? Is that last episode? Or which final fight are you talking about?
yes, with the blonde guy, the blonde hair.
That was the final fight. Well, then I've seen that.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the
Okay,
second to
okay,
last.
good. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
second.
That final fight.
Second, the general, the
Yeah.
inspector general or whatever his name was, where he put on those the Dai Kaiju fists.
Did you
And
finish
shit,
the?
yeah,
Did you see the
I
end of
finished
that
that
fight?
episode.
Did you see
Yeah,
finish the
yeah.
end of the fight?
But that was the second to last episode, so I did watch the whole thing.
'Cause
Unless
I
it
feel like
goes
the
into
end of the
the.
fight ended at the beginning of the last episode.
Okay, then I didn't finish it. Then I
Okay,
thought I
okay.
did.
Definitely check
Well,
it out.
I mean,
It's pretty awesome.
I watched the majority of the fights. It's still a good
Yeah. Oh
fight.
yeah. That definitely awesome. And I think the
So, and
beginning
I
of it was
know,
great.
and I know what happens because I
Oh yeah,
read
because
it.
you also said they were talking about the Dai Kaiju. That's when they
Yeah,
start talking about that, and the fact that
yeah.
they use and that's one thing that they did better than Attack on Titan. They used pieces of the Titans, these Dai
Yeah.
Kaijus, to
To form
create
weapons
weapons that are super powerful
which
to
pulled,
fight more on Kaijus.
which I immediately thought of Tokyo Ghoul for their Kagunes.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was
Tokyo
wondering what that
Ghoul,
was reminding me of. Nice.
yeah, Kagunes from the Tokyo Ghoul. They'd kill ghouls and use their powers to make like scythes, guns, swords. Fucking, I wasn't surprised honestly. It was a good add-on to the
Yeah.
show, but I wasn't surprised. The minute they said it, I was like, oh, like Tokyo
Yeah,
Ghoul,
and
cool. That's pretty
like
cool.
it didn't turn me off at
Yeah.
all. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then when he used it,
There's
it's like you
another
could
one.
see the kaiju as he's using the ability of the kaiju. I thought that was a pretty cool add-on too. Tokyo Ghoul didn't do that.
There was another one that was like that. There's another show that was like that where they killed the monsters or the demon or whatever the fuck of the world, and they used their bodies to like make weapons. I think that's a cool concept, 100%.
Yeah,
Like I think
that's.
it's a very cool concept. But yeah, this show is fucking fantastic, and like it's
Hold on, whoa, whoa.
exceeding.
Where did you put it? At the
I
bottom
just
of the S?
Oh no, I
Ooh.
just put it there for now.
Oh,
I was gonna move it up
I'm gonna
whenever
put it
we
in the
talked about
middle,
it.
in my opinion. I
I
think it
give you
has
that. I
potential
give
to
you
be
that.
at the top
It has
next
both.
season, but right now I think
Yeah.
it's in the middle.
So it has better fighting than cheat skill. It's also hilarious. Cheat skill is hilarious. That's two out of one. So that's two out of three for Kaiji number 8 and 1 out of 3
I think
for cheat skill.
Daisy Duke Boy, that show's hilarious.
I
So
gotta
some
I'm
of the
gonna
shit they be
finish it.
happening, that shit's
I might
hilarious.
start it over because I fell asleep when I watched like 5 episodes. I fell asleep on the last episode because I was already like super. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I was watching this. So I might just start it over just to get the full scope of everything. But all right, so last four. So the first one we got is the Go Loser Ranger. This show's good. It's
Yeah.
really good. It's again, it's another one. I'm like an episode behind, like one episode. I think one or two. But it's a really good show. I like the concept. I like the path that our. So I was afraid in the beginning that our character was gonna go through the basic like revenge type shit, and then like not really get anywhere, and then want to bridge the gap between humans and rangers, and like blah 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 blah, or not humans, but the monsters and rangers, and they added a little bit more to it, especially with him getting in disguise to go become and train as a ranger, which he did learn about them and started making some friends along the way, so on and so forth. That he doesn't want to consider them friends, but they are his friends. And it kind of got a little tropey to me, but it made up for it in some of its like good storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Like it has a good plot already, or a decent plot, but the storytelling in itself and some of the situations he finds himself in, and some of the like side quests that he has to do while he's on his main mission. Like when he turned into the ranger, when he did his like face swapping thing, and then ended up getting into a fight with the rangers, and like they do some very not character development, but they do a lot of character building. So it'd be like world building, but character building, where we get to see different rangers and different ranger regiments, which I really loved, by the way, because you know me, I'm a big Power Rangers fan, and the fact that the Red Ranger has a clan, the
Yeah.
Blue Ranger has a clan, the Yellow Ranger has a clan, the Pink Ranger, like each of them have their own like clans of the people striving to be the next ranger, or striving to be the next like Power Ranger. I think is really cool. For me, this is a low A. It's not an S. There's nothing super wow factor about it. It's Power Rangers, so I can't put it anything lower. I mean, it's evil Power Rangers. That concept is just super cool to me in the first place, but it's a low A
Okay.
for me.
Oh, that's all you got on it? Okay, okay. Low
I was
A.
trying to think of something. I forgot.
Okay, so a low A. You say you hadn't watched the final episode yet. It's so hard for me after watching the final episode. It did give more. There was,
Yeah.
of course, that final
Okay.
bad guy. I think it started in like the second to the last or the third to the last episode, but it kind of like finishes by the end of the episode. My only problem is it got so confusing what the fuck was going on. They went
Okay.
from event to event to event to event, and then it's like,
Okay.
wait, how do we get here? How do we get here? I
Mhm.
would have agreed with you before the end of it, with it being a low A. By the end of it, I think it did come up, but because it was confusing, it didn't reach a high A for me. I think it sits somewhere in the middle of the A, and I think it's going to kind of level out by the next season because we're starting to see that everyone has a personality. Everyone has a way that they feel about
Mhm.
the this Power Ranger force. Everyone feels
That's what
differently.
I'm saying.
Everyone's not blindly
There's like
following this.
character,
Yeah, there's good
like
character development.
the side characters have like backstories, and we get those stories, we get their feelings, we get, it's not just our main character and his friends and the Power Rangers. Like all the people we meet, we get to find out who they are, why they're there. Oh, we really don't like the Power Rangers either, actually. Oh shit, really? Like, oh, there's a lot of people that don't like them. Why don't you like them? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then, oh, but this monster killed my family, like this angel monster, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah.
whole big angel monster thing that hasn't been seen for 15 years killed my family. But I also noticed that the Power Rangers are being stupid, so I want to do this. Like, everybody has their own thoughts and emotions, and so I think that's really good that we're not just like, oh, here's the Ranger Force, fuck them, all right, let's go back to our main character, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what puts it in an A, maybe not a low A. I'd give it like below Remonster, but
I'm actually going to
um
say above Remonster because I just remember
really.
one more thing, and I think this one is kind of more talked about in the final episode. There, because one,
I
up to
give it
this
to
point, everyone was under the, well, at least the main leaders of the Power Ranger Force were under the impression that the what do they call the boss monsters, they're
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
The
okay,
fighters, they are under the impression that the boss monsters are gone. Then
but
we
they haven't
find
been.
out there's a boss monster that exists. It's like, what? Where have you been? And then it's like we get to see the fighter D. He's like, wait a minute. Where have you been all this time? Where were you when we needed you? And then he starts to become conflicted. Like, I can't follow you because you don't truly care about us. Yes, you may have
Yeah,
created us. So it's
you went
like
on a vacation.
his character depth gets even deeper because he in the end makes a decision that we all don't expect. So it's like, okay,
Yeah,
so what side are you on? Who's on whose side at the end? So
yeah.
moving into the next season, it definitely gives you something more to think about. I think that's the
Yeah.
reason why it managed to get higher in A from me just now. Coming on when I just started thinking
Okay.
about that one. Still not super high A, but I'm willing to put it above Remonster. And I liked Remonster, but Power
Yeah.
Rangers theme, the multifaceted personalities and
Okay.
depth, I'm willing to give it that.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, the last three are on you, and the first one is God's Game We Play.
Oh, don't worry, it's
I
gonna be
remember,
super quick.
I remember you talking about these. So
God's game we play. It would be disrespectful to even call it No Game No Life anymore. So I would never refer to it as No Game No Life.
that's good
This
to hear.
story is probably how you slightly felt about Newgate. It wanted to be No Game No Life so bad,
Copy
and
paste.
it was bad. I don't say that a lot. It was bad. I'm putting this as a D.
Wow.
Yes, like
Holy shit.
I tried
That's
to
like our
watch it,
first D.
and I watched it. I finished the season too.
That's our first D in a long time.
Yeah, I it was one of those shows where I put it
Oh,
on, I started watching it, and it I just my attention just went away from it. I had to start doing other things and just
wow.
let it play because
Wow.
the whole
Okay.
theme of one thing that killed it for me. Remember when we talked about it for before? You were like, okay, what happens if they don't win the games?
Yeah. Because
What
I had
eventually
assumed they
happens?
would die. That makes it
We
cool.
don't know. They never even talk
Oh.
about it. They never say, "Hey, if
Oh.
they don't win the games, this what happens," or if they do win the games, we don't even know what they get. So it's like, okay, cool. What's the next part of this show? That the next focus of the show? We got the two main characters. One that used to be a god or is kind of a god still, and the human who is like super good at video games. They're boring, and they figure out they win these games, and like it's like, okay, here's the game, beat the game. Here are the rules of what you have to follow in order for you to figure out how to beat the game. And it's not like, oh, you just need to do this and this. It's some overly roundabout way to win the game. And it just seems like it's all chance. It's all happenstance. Like, you just, oh, yeah, we're going to figure it out. This, like, it literally every time they win is just plot armor. It's, oh, we have to win, so this we figured out this bullshit reasoning of how we managed to beat this game. And then the gods are so shallow. It's like every time they try to introduce a god that has some personality to him, by the end of it, they're nothing. And it's like, all right, you won the game. Episode's over.
I'm proud of you. You know that? I'm proud of you.
Like, what?
It's been a long time since you've talked about an anime like this.
No, like it's because I love No Game No Life, and I wanted to love this. I love No Game No Life. I like what's the other one? The
Kakaguri.
Kakaguri. I love Kakaguri. I like the Kakaguri twin. I love these video game board type of animes, and you ruined it. You ruined it. It's like it's not even regular games.
You're a
it's
stain
just
on
some
the genre.
bullshit games where we're all on top of a flying whale and we have to figure out how to defeat the whale, but the whale's skin is impenetrable. How do we defeat it? Oh, we're going to use another whale to kill that whale. We're going to crash it into it, and you have to do it in this very specific. Whatever, dude. I don't like. It's like trying to figure out how they made sense of what they did is the worst part of this show, and it's a D. It's a D. And if you like it, power to you. I don't. I do not.
If you like the D, then
some people prefer the D. I don't.
Some people prefer the D. It is what it is. All right, Windbreaker. Tell me about it.
Windbreaker is actually pretty good. Windbreaker's pretty good.
The Tokyo Revengers
I don't know why I said pretty good. This is really good. It's really, really good. I didn't watch Tokyo Revengers, so maybe that definitely does it for me.
I haven't watched Windbreaker, but from what I've heard and read, it's almost not copy paste, but it's a very Tokyo Revengers-esque show, and because it's not copy paste, it's pretty good. That's from what I've read. And maybe it's wrong.
Okay, no, I don't know at all.
Tokyo Revengers was really good.
Just to quickly recap it, we have our main character. I'm not Maui. I don't memorize names. I'm terrible at it. Our main character, he's from a different town. I don't want to say he's a delinquent, but he's the type of person where he has to prove himself. He has to be the best fighter. He wants to be at the top of the gangs. He comes from another town into this town. And this town, apparently, like, gangs rule it. So the top gang protects it while other gangs try to impede upon that territory. He gets to the town and he immediately gets into a fight with a rival gang to his school because he's already wearing the school jacket. He gets into a fight with a rival gang. He's beating their ass, and then his school shows up, our main gang, and they beat their asses. And he's like, I didn't need your help. He was like, well, we're all a team. We're a family. We protect this town together. And we get introduced to the whole concept of this gang is a gang for the people. It's a gang that protects the town, provides for the town. If we don't do it, it'll be bad.
So his school is the main gang that protects the town.
Yeah, I think there's multiple schools in the area, but their school's gang is the strongest gang. Apparently, this town used to be the Wild Wild West, where people got robbed, beat up all the time, bullied, and then when they took over,
kind of like Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah, when they took over, they kept the peace.
Tokyo Revengers was a little different, where like everybody was strong as fuck, and it was the Wild Wild West, and then the Revengers had to step up to take over the town so it could be a little bit better. But they started there was a lot of infighting, and it got shady, and then shit started. And then it was the whole isekai kind of thing, like, or time travel, not really isekai. That part. Yeah, it was the whole time travel thing.
I think that was probably a pre. If Tokyo Revengers was this, it was a pre to this show. Because this show, we're already in the peacetime.
But the Tokyo Revengers, they were already grown. So they were
kept
grown,
going back
but
and
not
forth.
Grown.
Yeah,
because he kept going back and forth. But he would go back. He would go forward in time where he was a lieutenant, and everybody was an adult at the time. Because when we started the show, our boy in Tokyo Revengers was already an adult, and he was working in a grocery store, and he was like, "Fuck, like I don't want to do this shit anymore." And then he finally got a chance to go back and stand up for himself, and that's how he got into the Tokyo Revengers.
And he changed his like butterfly effect.
But a butterfly effect constantly.
This is no isekai, no changing of the timeline. That's just the base plot line. new
Yeah.
guy. He wants to be the top. He wants to be the strongest, the best. He want in his mind, his mentality. I have to beat all these guys in order for me to
Yeah.
be the best. Their
Yeah.
mentality, you have to be loved by all these guys in order to be the best. So the show is kind of him seeing that. But we don't
Yeah.
focus on that. We focus on the fights. The show is a fighting show. They throw hands. There's no special abilities. You got niggas who can take a lot of hits and
Your
they're fast
basic
as fuck.
anime fighting skills.
Not
Yeah.
even. I would say it's slightly above. I would say you got normal. You got average human fighting, and then
Well,
you
no,
have
that's what I'm saying. Like your
oh
anime
anime. Yeah,
fighting.
yeah, yeah. Your
Yeah, like
anime fight
you're
scenes
jump doing multiple front flips and kicking somebody in the
type
face. Shit
shit.
that normal people can't do. Right.
And it's actually pretty good. The choreography is really good. I
Yeah.
mean, I even at one point, forgive me, said, "Wow, this is Naruto choreography when it comes to fighting," because you actually see them throwing hands.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
actually see all the different moves that they're
I
doing.
need to. I need
There's
to look.
speed
I need to
arounds and
watch this.
everything. That was actually really cool, and that's not my thing. You know it.
Yeah.
I don't watch
Yeah.
like regular people fighting anime. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I decided to watch this one. They move on to there's another gang. You can say they're a rival gang. They've had some tussles in the past, but they're
Yeah.
bullying middle school kids, and they're like, you know what? We need to teach them a lesson. So the season kind of culminates to them going gang versus gang, but they're doing like 1v1 battles, and they're all like in the theater watching the 1v1 battles, and you can
Like a
see the
battle
top
royale.
fighters go off, and they
Not
sweep, they sweep.
prequel to God of High School or
Not that up. They go off and they got
Jingu?
the demon oni mode. Nothing like that. It's just dude is super strong and he can take a punch, many punches to the face, and then he and just start beating the shit out of him. It was super interesting to watch. Not gonna ruin the end of it, but
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
if you are looking for a fighting anime, I mean, if you like Tokyo Revengers, like if you take away the whole isekai part of it, you just like a fighting anime. If you're really into like the high school gangs, that type of stuff, or you just like seeing people throw hands,
I think the
this is a really great option.
I think the genre is called delinquent. It's like it's called delinquent. Like
Okay.
if you like delinquent style, it's like a delinquent style
So
genre.
if we were saying if that's the genre, delinquent style anime, I would put this one in S. This is an
Really?
S delinquent style anime. But you
But
also got
here's
to
the
remember, I haven't
question.
watched that many.
That's what I'm saying. Have you watched a lot of other delinquent style
No,
animes?
I can't
So,
think of. Do you
because
got a few
I
that you think
have,
I've seen?
not that you've seen now. Like Tokyo Revengers is one. Um, what was that other one? There's one on Netflix. It's an actual anime. It's on Crunchyroll too, but it's on Netflix as well. I
Yeah, I'm
forgot.
not really big into it, but
Yeah,
being that
there's a few. There's
the
a
reason why
few.
I'm willing to put it into an S, a low S. I'm being respectful, but it's a low S. Reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm not interested in this
So it's
genre.
kind of like me with rom-coms.
Yeah, I'm not
So like,
interested in this genre, but yet
okay.
I enjoyed watching this. I remember like my wife, she started sitting down behind me, and I was excited to tell her about the story and what's going on and how did we get here. I'm willing to put it into a low S for the delinquent style animes.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it myself to probably give a better um to give it a better rating. And I feel like you would trust me on it if I was like,
Yeah, you've
no,
seen a lot more. I know this
it's
is more
more
your cup of
it's
tea.
more of an A, you know. So I'll definitely watch it and I'll bring it on a future episode. I'll be like, hey, by the way, I watched it. So it's an S or it's
It's
an
a D.
A
I don't know
or
what the fuck he was talking about.
yeah, that shit is ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, because to be fair to me, this is why I was like, is like Tokyo Revengers to me is not an S. Like it's one of the best delinquent style animes, but it's still just it's very because they added the whole time jumping thing in it. It gets
I
just
brought it
super
down.
old. It gets old. Like it just gets so old. Like he changes the future and then he comes back and it's just like not good, and then or he changes the past, sorry, comes back, doesn't
I
like
mean, he
it,
ends up
changes it
changing the
again.
future, yeah. But
um
from what you've told me, from the clips I've seen, the fights I've seen, I think this is better than Tokyo Revengers, and it doesn't
really,
have that isekai thing
some of
really
them,
a
yo,
lot.
some of them Mikey and Draken fights though are
I think
fucking
it
out
has
of this
that without the
world.
bad parts of Tokyo Revengers, and from what I've seen, I think it has those level fights, without all that
Okay.
extra shit. It's just these are
Okay.
just high school delinquents doing their thing, protecting their town, and I think it
Okay.
was really well made.
I'll
And
check
the
it out.
animation was really great. The
I'm
animation was
not
really
putting it
good.
above anything on the
Yeah,
S
you can put
category
it.
though.
You can definitely put it at a low S, but
Can I
I've
put
even
it
seen
like
it.
over here?
I mean, you can put it as far
Just
right as you
no,
want, as long as it's sitting on the S.
just in case. Like it's like a in review, like S in review.
In
S
review,
in review. Yeah,
we need a
pending.
we
It's
need
a
an
pending
I.
S. It's a pending. It's a pending S.
Okay, okay,
All right.
nah.
So the last one we got again, haven't watched it, but which is surprising to me because I talked about this and was looking forward to it, and for
Hmm.
some reason I completely missed it. But
Yeah.
it's the banished former hero lives as he pleases, which again is not something that I would usually watch because it's the lives as he pleases part. But from what you've told me, from what I've seen, some of the
Hmm.
clips, I'm like, oh, I would actually like this.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised I skipped over it, but go ahead and tell me where you rank it, and why.
Um, I will say I'm going to rank it at a B, and I'm going to initially put it
Oh,
at a B because I truly don't remember much about it. I remember the plot line of it. I'll put it as a high B. I'm willing. I might even put it as an A when I get to the end of talking about it. So the whole Banish former hero Banish lives as he pleases. He
okay.
was isekai in his original world. He was a
Yeah.
hero. So he's not a hero
Yep.
of this world and banished. He was a hero in his original world. He ended up dying. Now, surrounding his death, he was he beat the Demon King. This is
Yeah.
after he's already saved the world. Now people are
Yeah.
like, "You're just overly powerful. You scare me. Why are you still around?" And I think they end up killing him. So he gets isekai'd into a new
Wow.
world. He eventually gets really down on himself. He doesn't want to be the hero anymore. I think they like Frankenstein riot and eventually kill him. I will have to go back and remember exactly how he died, but he died because of that. Whether they killed him,
You're
he killed himself, or
sure.
something happened.
Oh, so you don't remember exactly? Because I was about to say, how is he OP
Yeah,
like
he
that?
didn't. He
But
didn't. He didn't die of natural causes. He didn't
some
die
farmer,
from a
some
villain or
farmer
anything
with a
like that.
pitchfork kills him. That's crazy to
That's
me.
what I'm saying. He didn't die of natural causes. He didn't die from a villain. I'm pretty sure they either killed him or he took himself out because he got really down. That's something that they really want you to understand, that he truly
He was
no
depressed.
longer wanted to be the hero
Yeah.
because everyone either hated him or feared
Hmm.
him. So he dies, goes to, not mind you, that's just the pre plot. This is not the main plot of the story. He's now gone into this new world, and he gets Eskai as a child. He grows up. He is part of a royal family, and it's a pretty high royal family. I wouldn't say it's the top, but it's like a mid tier royal family, and
Yeah.
they're the type of royals where power is everything. In this
Right.
world, everyone, well, most people, but royals especially, they eventually receive a blessing. Blessing
Okay.
shows that they are respectable, they are
Excuse me.
powerful, they should be respected by the people.
Yeah.
Well, because he was isekai into this world and he was a hero in his previous world, he still has his hero abilities.
Hmm.
He never receives a blessing. So, of course, when they turn whatever,
They think
14,
he's
15 years old,
weak.
they
Yeah.
try to get his blessing. He didn't receive one. So they saw him as weak. He's
Hmm.
the runt of the litter. So eventually they got to the point, his father, he's an asshole. His brother was an asshole. And his brother's an asshole for a whole reason. His brother was an asshole because his brother was weak, and his father, because he didn't have a blessing, he put all his energy into the
Hatred.
brother.
Yeah.
So his brother was weak, and he eventually had to, he kept obviously forcing him to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and he eventually started to hate his brother because you're weak, and that's the reason why father put so much pressure on me. So the brother's an asshole for that reason. Well, eventually they kick him out of the house. They banish him from the family. Like, we don't want you a part of our family because you don't have a blessing. So now he get to live as he pleases. He now flexes his hero powers as he wants. There are fight scenes in it. We end up finding out that he was engaged to be married to a girl at one point, but it got called off because obviously he was banished from the family. But that was like their way of trying to pawn him off onto another family. Well, he ends up
Yeah.
meeting up with this girl again. They get into situations. There are actually a good amount of fight scenes. The reason why
Yeah.
I'm putting it
Yeah.
as a
Why is it a
B,
B?
because after that is not much else to it. Yes, we get into the predicament where the father's like his aspirations of what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
He's working with the demons. But
Okay.
after we find out he's the hero and he's OP, every conflict is easily solved by him. And now
Okay.
it's more of a story of the father getting angrier and angrier because it's like, why are all my what's the word I'm looking for? Um Endeavors. Yeah. Why are
Okay.
all my endeavors being thwarted? Who's doing this? But he
Yeah.
doesn't know until he eventually finds out it's his son, the son that he supposedly kicked out.
Mm,
But that's truly it. And then he gets
mm,
defeated afterwards, and that's all. If we want to focus on the story, is hey, he was born, he was really powerful, but his father didn't think he was powerful, and then he learned his lesson because he was trying to do some bad shit, and he
yeah.
ended up being thwarted by the son that he kicked out. Cool, it's a B. But everything else, like the fight scenes were decent. I would say it had A-level fight scenes, but the story itself was a B. Like it could have been so much better, but they decided to put all their eggs into the basket of, ha ha, you thought he was weak, but he's actually super strong, and he's the
Yeah.
one who's going to be the
Very tropey.
you see what I mean? And after that,
Yeah.
it wasn't much depth to it. We don't really see the relationship of him, the main character, and that girl he was engaged to
So,
flourish or bloom into anything else. They
yeah.
like each other, but they nothing
So they
happens of it.
so they added the trope but didn't add anything to make it stand out from other
No, I
tropes.
think I think they had
Yeah.
what they wanted to do, and they just kept introducing other things, but they didn't really
Yeah.
play out.
Okay.
So it's
Mm,
a B. It was a decent anime. It was decent. Like
yeah.
we've said before, if it's a B or above, it's something we suggest. Hey, check it out. If it's
Yeah,
B,
check it out.
check it out if you got time. If it's an A, definitely check it out. If it's a S, why haven't you watched this shit yet?
Yeah,
This is
why?
something. Hey, if you have time, definitely check it out.
Okay.
It's a pretty decent show.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a D. Pause. We
We got
have the
two.
D.
No.
We got like this show's crazy. I mean, this is our seasonal wrap up. We did our upcoming, which those episodes have dropped already. So be sure you check those out of our upcoming summer 2024 anime, which has already started and is already off to a big banger right now. But we have our first D in a long time, and we
Has
try.
it been
And I
long?
know, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we try to not be biased, right? We have our own opinions, right? And we don't necessarily, yeah, so Otaku Octagon, but we don't really fight over this because we are very similar in like what can constitute an S through D. Like you can give a little leeway at this point because there's not much between a low S and a high A. There's maybe a scene or an episode that can make it go up or down. So it's nothing really crazy, but when there's something that's a D on the list, you gotta know it's a D. It's bad.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't
it's been
suggest
a
that to
while since we've
anybody.
done that. So yeah, it's when wish it I'm a worst enemy apparently. So don't watch God's game we play.
Four
Um,
S's is actually surprising. I didn't think at the beginning of this episode we would end up with four S's.
yeah, and I know it was a little tricky to get you to level 2 super cheat to get up into the S category, but it just because kind of like Windbreaker for you, it's not something I normally watch, and because I don't normally watch it, and because it was so good to me, it makes it one of the funny. Like to be honest, and I'm trying like as I said it, and I'm still trying to think of it now. I can't think of another anime that's as funny as this is, personally. And again, that may be because I was watching it with my wife, so I got to enjoy the comedy with somebody else. So we both got to make faces and like laugh at a certain topic that happened when the Jin was about to do
Yeah,
unconsensual things to the witch in the mind. It was
I,
like, bro,
I was laughing.
pause. What
I
the
was
fuck?
laughing.
I was like, hey, yo, what the hey, she about to pull out she about to pull out the 7-inch hammer,
I
like,
think the reason why we put it those two specifically in S is because they were surprising shows for even someone who's not. This is not our
yeah,
preferred genre. If you don't like rom coms, you don't
yeah,
like the delinquent shows. We consider these really good. So even if it's
yeah,
not your normal
oh
cup
yeah,
of tea, check it out. Check it out. You might
yeah.
actually like it. I think
Yeah,
those are good.
to put it, and it's hard to not, like you said, it's hard to not compare it to other animes in that genre, but that's sometimes what you have to do. Now, we're not going to do two different tier lists, right? Where we do, okay, comparing it to other shows in this season, and comparing it to other shows in the genre, like we have to add an element of both to it. And if we're doing rom-com adventure style animes, which I don't watch a lot of, but I have watched a bit amount to say what it is, then you got to put it in an S, especially for somebody who's not really in it. And maybe this opens the door for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this opens the door to somebody for adventure animes, for isekais. Maybe the Windbreaker opens the door for people to get into delinquent style animes. You know what I'm saying? But this, you want to talk about door openers? These two are fucking door openers to that world. And if it's a guild style anime, I'm watching it anyways. I mean, you don't have to ask me. If it has adventure guilds in it, I'm probably fucking watching it. So, but this was a decent season. Besides the big old D down here, pause. You know, this was a decent season. We got most of it in B's to S's. There was a lot of returners, and of course we don't do the S rankings or the tier lists on returners because we've talked about them first seasons when they come out. I mean, if you're not watching Demon Slayer, and by the way, you watched the final. Yeah, I know you did. You watched the final episode of Demon Slayer, right?
Of course.
Oh my gosh. I don't think talking about the funniest show I've ever watched. I think so and says something. I used to think that Fate style stuff was some of the best and most beautiful choreographed shit I've ever seen in my life, right? Like the Fate, like especially Fate Stay Night, right? And Fate Zero. This last episode of Demon Slayer was the most beautiful episode of anime I've ever watched in my life. Like visually wise. Beautiful. The explosion looked real. It looked like a Michael Bay. They put money into this episode. Oh, they broke the bank with this fucking episode. I still get chills. I still get like the little clips. I still get chills at the end when all the Hashira are doing their forms towards Muzan, and then Tanjiro comes in with his Kimi no Kakura, and it, like I get chills. Like there's very few animes that give me chills. And when we've been on this long Demon Slayer train, no pun intended, Mugen train. When we've been on this long Demon Slayer train to just get to Muzan, and then we finally get there, and then, ching, and then they all get in the Infinity Castle, and then, fucking Zenitsu, oh my god, like, bro, Zenitsu, everybody got dropped into the Infinity Castle. Zenitsu entered the Infinity Castle. He said, I got shit to do. Like, I'm not here to play games. I got shit to do. I got bills to pay. Like, I'm in this motherfucker.
He was pretty badass when he was coming down. Yeah.
And yeah. Oh my god, like that's what I've been waiting for because I know what happens. I've seen the panels. I've seen the ending.
Oh,
like,
you've been talking about it. I remember when we had our Tanjiro Zenitsu discussion, and you were talking about this point.
I was like, yeah, and fun fact, not really a spoiler, so I guess spoiler warning. If you don't want to hear this, then click out. I love you. Peace out to everybody. I just really wanted to talk about this episode for a second. But spoiler warning, like he is the